this video, you're going to learn how to take an FPS system such as this one, which has no footsteps, shooting effects, or impact sounds, and turn it into something like this, which changes its footsteps depending on the speed at which you're walking/running and what substance you're walking on, and changes the impact effects and impact sounds depending on what substance you're shooting. In this, we're going to be demoing 4 substances, but you can adapt it for whatever your purposes are. So first, to make the impact effects, we're going to download the Unity particle pack. Let's import it. Now, to rip the effects, go into the particle pack, effect examples, weapon effects, prefabs, open up this stone impacts. So we're going to want to rip these effects. So we'll create an empty impacts-concrete, take the dust effects, the decal effects, and the impact debris effects. So we'll just have an empty that has a decal and the effects, and then we can create that as its own prefab, and then we'll repeat that for the flesh, metal, and wood. Okay, so the important thing about the code is that we're using these scriptable objects, which keep track of all the bullet sounds, so we'll randomize those every time we hit something, the impact OBJ, and the audio clips for when you're walking on that substance and when you're sprinting on that substance. Once you've coded that, you should be able to right-click and create a scriptable object called substance. And you can drag that into the substance script, which will attach to whatever object you need. Let me just show you that code. It's literally just a substance asset, which is the class we just created. So here's a breakdown of the code that we'll have to add our system to, and then we'll show how to actually do it. So our player has one script attached to it. That's it, keeping it simple. It's called player.cs. Now in that script, we've got a struct called movement settings, which keeps track of our walk speed, etc. We'll declare that up here. Then every frame, we run this update, and we just call this player_movement.movement thing. That'll take care of all our movement stuff. And then we'll reference the shooting script .maybeshoot function, which takes care of all our shooting stuff. Now this onCollision enter says that every time we land on a surface, we can jump again, and that'll adjust the movement settings Boolean whether or not we're on the ground. So this is the code that we'll have to write. This mostly was covered in previous videos, but if you haven't seen those, this is all the code we'll need that's relevant to this video. So you can see, as I explained, we've got the player_movement.movement and shooting.maybeshoot. The onCollision enter function, this here is new code. So every time we land, we'll say that movement settings.bootsonground is true. But this here, this will allow us to check that we've landed on a floor, not a wall, or we haven't just jumped up and bumped our head on a ceiling. So if the surface, normal, has an angle that differs from the world vertical, that's just pointing up by more than 45 degrees, then we've landed on a wall or a ceiling. But if it's less than 45 degrees, then we'll assume it's a walkable surface. So we'll just check that whatever we've touched has a component substance, and that substance has a substance asset, and then we'll just create that substance asset here, and we'll say that if that substance asset has the walk clip and the sprint sound clip, then we can set our movement settings audio substance, this is also new code, to that substance. Now we've also added this new code here, the audio source _footsteps. That'll be public, so we can just add an audio source to our player and declare that in the inspector. Now, our movement code, this is old. every frame, we check that if we're on the ground, then we can translate the player. So let's go to that function. Just this here just says move if you're pressing WSD, and if you press shift, then run twice as fast. Now here's our audio clip, what's relevant to the video. If we are not moving here, then we'll tell our footsteps to stop playing. But if not, and we have an audio substance assigned, that'll be assigned here, as we just said, then we can check that if we're sprinting. If we're not sprinting, we'll play the walk clip. If we are sprinting, then we'll play the sprint sound clip. And now if we'll just make sure that to play, we have to make sure that we're not already playing it, otherwise it'll just restart from the first frame, every frame. So with regard to shooting, we've got this shooting.maybe shoot. Now that says it has a if statement. If we're pulling the trigger and enough time has passed, then call this fire function, which is lower in the script. This is the code here. So we'll do a raycast. We'll get this impact, which we put here. This code is not relevant to the video. This is. So if our impact, it's a collider that has a substance, and that substance has a substance asset, and that substance asset has an impact OBJ, then we'll create that substance asset, we'll copy it to whatever the substance asset of whatever we've just hit. We'll create an impact OBJ to instantiate at the point we've hit, facing away from the surface, and parented to whatever we just shot. Then we'll create an audio source, which we will add to the impact effects. We'll make it not loop, because we just want it to play once. Now, if the substance asset that we've taken has more than 0 bullet sounds to choose from, then we'll create a random number, and we'll check that if the slot designated by that random number in our list has an actual sound, it's not just empty slot, then we'll set our impact audio source clips. That's the audio source on the impact effects that we just instantiated. We'll set that clip to the clip that we've chosen from our substance asset, and we'll tell our effects sound to play. So, as usual, please like, comment, subscribe, and leave comments about what you'd like to see in a later video. Cheers!